I cook with wine, sometimes I even add it to the food. No doubt exists that all women are crazy, it's only a question of degree. Now don't say you can't swear off drinking, it's easy. I've done it 1,000 times. Once, during Prohibition, I was forced to live for days on nothing but food and water. The best cure for insomnia is to get a lot of sleep. Don't worry about your heart, it will last you as long as you live. Abstaining is favorable both to the head and the pocket. On the whole, I'd rather be in Philadelphia. I'd like to see Paris before I die. Philadelphia will do. Attitude is more important than the past, than education, than money, than circumstances, than what people do or say. It is more important than appearance, giftedness, or skill. Drown in a cold vat of whiskey. Death, where is thy sting? Children should neither be seen or heard from, ever again. The world is getting to be such a dangerous place, a man is lucky to get out of it alive. I am an expert of electricity. My father occupied the chair of applied electricity at the state prison. Never cry over spilt milk, because it may have been poisoned. Last week, I went to Philadelphia, but it was closed. Ah, the patter of little feet around the house. There's nothing like having a midget for a butler. You can't trust water, even a straight stick turns crooked in it. I never drink water because of the disgusting things that fish do in it. When we have lost everything, including hope, life becomes a disgrace, and death a duty. It's morally wrong to allow a sucker to keep his money. There are only two real ways to get ahead today: sell liquor or drink it. Always carry a flagon of whiskey in case of snakebite, and furthermore always carry a small snake. I like to keep a bottle of stimulant handy in case I see a snake, which I also keep handy. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Then quit. There's no point in being a damn fool about it. Anyone who hates children and animals can't be all bad. Reminds me of my safari in Africa. Somebody forgot the corkscrew, and for several days we had to live on nothing but food and water. A rich man is nothing but a poor man with money. Remember, a dead fish can float downstream, but it takes a live one to swim upstream. Women are like elephants. I like to look at them, but I wouldn't want to own one. I never drink water, that is the stuff that rusts pipes. Here lies W.C. Fields. I would rather be living in Philadelphia. The clever cat eats cheese and breathes down rat holes with bated breath. Set up another case, bartender. The best thing for a case of nerves is a case of scotch. It was a woman who drove me to drink, and I never had the courtesy to thank her for it. There comes a time in the affairs of man when he must take the bull by the tail and face the situation. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bull. Show me a great actor and I'll show you a lousy husband. Show me a great actress, and you've seen the devil. The laziest man I ever met put popcorn in his pancakes so they would turn over by themselves. I once spent a year in Philadelphia. I think it was on a Sunday. If there's a will, prosperity can't be far behind. It ain't what they call you, it's what you answer to. Start every day off with a smile and get it over with. Some things are better than sex, and some are worse, but there's nothing exactly like it. I never worry about being driven to drink, I just worry about being driven home. Never try to impress a woman, because if you do she'll expect you to keep up the standard for the rest of your life. Sleep, the most beautiful experience in life, except drink. Horse sense is the thing a horse has which keeps it from betting on people. I am free of all prejudices. I hate everyone equally. I don't know why I ever come in here. The flies get the best of everything. I was in love with a beautiful blonde once. She drove me to drink. That's the one thing I'm indebted to her for. The cost of living has gone up another $1 a quart. All the men in my family were bearded, and most of the women. I never vote for anyone. I always vote against. Marry an outdoors woman. Then if you throw her out into the yard on a cold night, she can still survive. Hell, I never vote for anybody, I always vote against. If I had to live my life over, I'd live over a saloon. A woman drove me to drink and I didn't even have the decency to thank her. I never drink water. I'm afraid it will become habit-forming. Some weasel took the cork out of my lunch. I always keep a supply of stimulant handy in case I see a snake, which I also keep handy. I am free of all prejudices. I hate everyone equally. I have been asked if I ever get the DTs. I don't know. It's hard to tell where Hollywood ends and the DTs begin. Go back to reform school, you little nosepicker. Start off every day with a simple smile and get it over with. Well, her face was so wrinkled it looked like 7 miles of bad road. She had so many gold teeth. She used to have to sleep with her head in a safe. Cross my heart and hope to eat my weight in goslings. On the whole, I would rather be in Philadelphia. Anything worth having is a thing worth cheating for. Horse sense is a good judgment which keeps horses from betting on people. There is not a man in America who has not had a secret ambition to boot an infant. We frequently hear of people dying from too much drinking. That this happens is a matter of record. But the blame is always placed on whiskey. Why this should be I never could understand. You can die from drinking too much of anything, coffee, water, milk, soft drinks, and all such stuff as that. And so as long as the presence of death lurks with anyone who goes through the simple act of swallowing, I will make mine whiskey. Smile first thing in the morning. Get it over with. I'd rather have 2 girls at 21 each than 1 girl at 42. A man who overindulges lives in a dream. He becomes conceited. He thinks the whole world revolves around him, and it usually does. Never mind what I told you, you do as I tell you. It's what you do that counts and not what you say, therefore I fired my press agent. California is the only state in the Union where you can fall asleep under a rose bush in full bloom and freeze to death. What a gorgeous day! What effulgent sunshine! It was a day of this sort the McGillicuddy brothers murdered their mother with an axe. I like my films to influence the audience, even if it means tripping their aged grandparents with a cane when they get home. The best thing to break is a contract. No one likes the fellow who is all rogue, but will forgive him almost anything if there is warmth of human sympathy underneath his rogueries. The immortal types of comedy are just such men. There are 7 natural openings in the head and body. A lawyer is the only human being with 8. The extra one is a slot to store money in, should his bank be unable to hold all of it. To me, these biblical stories are just so many fish stories, and I'm not specifically referring to Jonah and the whale. I need indisputable proof of anything I'm asked to believe. If I ever found a church that didn't believe in knocking all the other churches, I might consider joining it. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain unless you've used up all the other four-letter words. The Punkwat Twins. Brentwood is the world's smallest giant, whilst his brother, Elwood, is the largest midget in the world. They baffle science. I didn't say the meat was tough. I said I didn't see the horse that is usually outside. My heart is a bargain today. Will you take it? The movie people would have nothing to do with me until they heard me speak in a Broadway play, then they all wanted to sign me for the silent movies. Trust everybody, but cut the cards yourself. Indeed, moderation is my middle name, though I do not often use it in signing legal documents. I have a poor memory for names, but I seldom remember a face. If it is a joint return, we are instructed to print the given names of both husband and wife. But since some of the names that husband and wife give each other are hardly suited to print, we must proceed cautiously. What would you do if you were president, and, on the first day of May, the Russian ambassador presented you with a beautiful cake which emitted a curious ticking noise? Would you plunge it into a pail of water, thus insulting Soviet cuisine in general? It was a marriage of convenience, as my father had a blister on his big toe and couldn't travel far to find a girl. W. C. Fields, a lifetime agnostic, was discovered reading a Bible on his deathbed. I'm looking for a loophole, he explained. When you wake up in the morning, smile, and get it over with. I don't object to 9 aces in one deck. But when a man lays down 5 aces in one hand, and besides, I know what I dealt him. I'm looking for loopholes. Said when caught reading the Bible. I never voted for anybody. I always voted against. I have been in the entertainment business some 43 years, and I have never said anything detrimental or anything that might be construed as belittling any race or religion. I would be a sucker to do so because you can't insult the customers. I once donated a pint of my finest red corpuscles to the Great American Red Cross, and the doctor opined my blood was very helpful. Contained so much alcohol they could use it to sterilize their instruments. I never drank anything stronger than beer before I was 12. When life hands you lemons, make whiskey sours. I feel like a midget with muddy feet have been walking over my tongue all night. I never drink water, fish F*** K in it. I only drink to steady my nerves. Sometimes I'm so steady I don't move for months. After 2 days in the hospital, I turned to the nurse. You can't cheat an honest man. Back in my rummy days, I would tremble and shake for hours upon arising. It was the only exercise I got. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house unless they have a well-stocked bar. Somebody's been putting pineapple juice in my pineapple juice. During one of my treks through Afghanistan, we lost our corkscrew. We were compelled to live on food and water for several days. The two-headed boy in the circus never had such a headache. I never met a kid I liked. Ye gads, no. I couldn't stand the noise. Ultimately, chess is just chess, not the best thing in the world and not the worst thing in the world, but there is nothing quite like it. I believe in tying the marriage knot, as long as it's around a woman's neck. Thou shalt not kill anything less than a fifth. I certainly do not drink all the time. I have to sleep, you know. It's quite true I'm not drinking anymore, however, I'm not drinking any less either. I can do anything I want to do. Business is an establishment that gives you the legal, even though unethical, right to screw the naive right, left, and in the middle. I don't drink water. Have you seen the way it rusts pipes? I'm free of all prejudices. I hate everyone equally. Some people are born losers, others acquire the knack gradually. Where there is a will, there's prosperity around the corner. I never smoked a cigar in my life until I was 9. I've been drunk only once in my life. But that lasted for 23 years. Happiness means quiet nerves. When doctors and undertakers meet, they wink at each other. It is well to remember that there are 5 reasons for drinking: the arrival of a friend, one's present or future thirst, the excellence of the cognac, or any other reason. A comic should suffer as much over a single line as a man with a hernia would in picking up a heavy barbell. I personally stay away from natural foods. At my age, I need all the preservatives I can get. Scotch needs water like a fish needs a bicycle. Dentists, lawyers, doctors are all a bunch of thieving bastards. I don't believe in dining on an empty stomach. If pigs had wings, they would be pigeons. There are better things than sex, but nothing quite like it. Bert Williams was the funniest man I ever saw and the saddest man I ever knew. I'd take a bromo, but I can't stand the noise. Yes, I do like children. Girl children, about 18 or 20. I've never hit a woman in my life. Not even my own mother. Wouldn't it be terrible if I quoted some reliable statistics which prove that more people are driven insane through religious hysteria than by drinking alcohol? A thing worth having is a thing worth cheating for. All things considered, I'd rather be in Philadelphia. How well I remember my first encounter with the Devil SS Brew. I happened to stumble across a case of bourbon, and went right on stumbling for several days thereafter. Variant, I was driven to drink by a woman. I am forever grateful, yet I never had the good manners to thank her. Just like my Uncle Charlie used to say, just before he sprung the trap, he said, "You can't cheat an honest man. Never give a sucker an even break or smarten up a chump." Was I in here last night and did I spend a $20 bill? Oh, thank goodness. I thought I'd lost it. Take me down to the bar. We'll drink breakfast together. I've been asked if I ever get the DTs. I don't know. It's hard to tell where Hollywood ends and the DTs begin. It is funnier to bend things than to break them. Fields' reply, he'd think I was a sissy. Marriage is better than leprosy only because it's easier to get rid of. I seldom took a drink on the set before 9 a.m. How is the human race going to survive now that the cost of living has gone up $2 a quart? Few things in life are more embarrassing than the necessity of having to inform an old friend that you have just got engaged to his fiancée. The first thing any comedian does on getting an unscheduled laugh is to verify the state of his. Remember, Lady Godiva put all she had on a horse and she lost her shirt. No man is the boss of his own house, but he can make up for it, he thinks, by making a dog play dead. I have been advised by the best medical authority, at my age, not to attempt to give up alcohol. The advantages of whiskey over dogs are legion. Whiskey does not need to be periodically wormed, it does not need to be fed, it never requires a special kennel, it has no toenails to be clipped or coat to be stripped. Whiskey sits quietly in its special nook until you want it. True, whiskey has a nasty habit of running out, but then so does a dog. I could juggle anything in my day. Balls, cigar boxes, knives, but there was one thing I could never juggle: my income tax. I could be stranded in any town in the United States with 10 cents and within an hour make $20 with the shell game. Here is my best advice on the matter of deductibles: just count off on your fingers all the items that you suspect might be deductible, and then forget them, because they aren't. When asked to borrow money, I'll see what my lawyer says. And if he says yes, I'll get another lawyer. I used to be indecisive, now I'm not so sure. Alcoholic: anybody who drinks more than I do. If a thing is worth having, it's worth cheating for. The nation needs to return to the colonial way of life, when a wife was judged by the amount of wood she could split. Never eat at a place called Mom's, but if the only other place in town has a sign that says Eats, go back to Mom's. I've been barbecued, stewed, screwed, tattooed, and fried by people claiming to be my friends. The human race has gone backward, not forward, since the days we were apes swinging through the trees. In the 10 years since I had run away from home, I had gone through more strange experiences than the average person crowds into a whole lifetime. The funniest thing a comedian can do is not do it. This job will drive me to drink, and for that reason, I will be eternally grateful. I never eat before breakfast. Try till you succeed. If you don't succeed once, then destroy all evidence of the fact that you tried. All Englishmen talk as if they've got a bushel of plums stuck in their throats, and then after swallowing them get constipated from the pips. If I had my life to live over again, I'd live over a saloon. A man without a woman is like a neck without a pain. Buried my wife the other day. Had to, she died. I note the derogatory rumors concerning the use of alcoholic stimulants and lavish living. It is the penalty of greatness. If it does not work the first time, try again. Then quit. No need to be an idiot. I like thieves. Some of my best friends are thieves. Why, just last week we had the president of the bank over for dinner. All my available funds are completely tied up in cash. I'm searching for loopholes. In every big city there is always one surefire laugh, and that lies in hanging some piece of idiocy upon the people of a nearby city or town. Hollywood is the gold cap on a tooth that should have been pulled out years ago. It's a wonderful thing, the DTs. You can travel the world in a couple of hours. You see some mighty funny and curious things that come in assorted colors. I've been on a 46-year diet of olives and alcohol. The latter I consume. The former I save and use over again in more alcohol. In my lifetime, I imagine, I have consumed at least $200,000 worth of whiskey. I write my scripts short and they develop on the set, which I have found a far better premise both economically and practically. The low-ceiling price bazaar for sexual relief was a street called Midday Alley. You could barely get a pushcart through this avenue. Top price 25 cents. I was almost put out of business by a well-meaning corpse. I think of the church often. Not because religion was closing in on me, but because for a long time my ass was sore from that hard, unupholstered pew. The income tax was devised to give lawyers and certified public accountants business. Few persons can make head, tail, or middle out of it. Einstein admitted he couldn't. I'm looking for loopholes. I always made up my own acts, built them out of my knowledge and observation of real life. I'd had wonderful opportunities to study people, and every time I went out on the stage I tried to show the audience some bit of true human nature. I ad-lib most of my dialogue. If I did remember my lines, it would be too bad for me. Thou shalt not steal only from other comedians. First prize was a week in Philadelphia. Second prize was 2 weeks. I like children. If they're properly cooked. Reality is an illusion that occurs due to the lack of alcohol. I don't drink anymore, on the other hand I don't drink any less either. I was married once in San Francisco. I haven't seen her for many years. The great earthquake and fire in 1906 destroyed the marriage certificate. There's no legal proof. Which proves that earthquakes aren't all bad. Say anything that you like about me except that I drink water. My daughter wants to throw a stone at a bad man. I stop her from throwing, shaking my head and giving her a little slap. My disapproval is complete. You think, that's right, she shouldn't throw a stone even at a villain. Then I hand her a brick to throw. A man who's intoxicated all the time doesn't need sympathy. Money will not buy happiness, but it will let you be unhappy in nice places. The work I'm doing on the screen differs from that of anyone else. My comedy is of a peculiar nature. No writers have been developed along the lines of my type of comedy, and this is why I sometimes have differences with writers, supervisors and directors alike. Sex isn't necessary. You don't die without it, but you can die having it. Comedy is merely tragedy happening to someone else. Never work with animals or children. Never give a sucker an even break. Beer, helping ugly people have sex since 3000 BC. I drink with impunity, or anyone else who invites me. I must have a drink of breakfast. I have spent a lot of time searching through the Bible for loopholes. There's no such thing as a tough child. If you parboil them first for 7 hours, they always come out tender. My illness is due to my doctor's insistence that I drink milk, a whitish fluid they force down helpless babies. The only thing a lawyer won't question is the legitimacy of his mother. I like children, fried. It is impossible to find 12 fair men in all the world. So long as the presence of death lurks with anyone who goes through the simple act of swallowing, I will make mine whiskey. Comedy is a serious business. A serious business with only one purpose: to make people laugh. A Merry Christmas to all my friends except 2. The funniest thing about comedy is that you never know why people laugh. I know what makes them laugh, but trying to get your hands on the why of it is like trying to pick an eel out of a tub of water. Christmas at my house is always at least 6 or 7 times more pleasant than anywhere else. We start drinking early. And while everyone else is seeing only one Santa Claus, we'll be seeing 6 or 7. Philadelphia, wonderful town, spent a week there one night. Prayers never bring anything. They may bring solace to the sap, the bigot, the ignorant, the aboriginal, and the lazy, but to the enlightened it is the same as asking Santa Claus to bring you something for Christmas. I didn't squawk about the steak, dear. I merely said I didn't see that old horse that used to be tethered outside here. I spent half my money on gambling, alcohol, and wild women. The other half I wasted. I exercise strong self-control. I never drink anything stronger than gin before breakfast. It's a funny old world. A man's lucky if he gets out of it alive. I drink, therefore I am. Ain't fit for man nor beast. I don't have to attend every argument I'm invited to. You can fool some of the people some of the time, and that's enough to make a decent living. My main ambition as a gardener is to water my orange trees with gin, then all I have to do is squeeze the juice into a glass. Everybody's got to believe in something. I believe I'll have another beer.